Welcome to Small Venue Music. Our podcast showcases the amazing local musicians and incredible small music venues right here in Richmond, Virginia. Join us each episode as we talk to musicians, venue owners, and even fans to help everyone get a better understanding of what makes our local music scene so special. Whether you're a musician, a fan of music, or just curious about the local music scene, we think you'll really enjoy the show. In this episode of Small Venue Music, we'll be welcoming Turner's Body Shop to the show. Turner's Body Shop is a band full of family members that play all the songs you forgot you loved. They've been entertaining fans in Richmond for over 10 years. The father-daughter duo of Jay Turner and Ruby Mae Turner will be joining us for a conversation, and we'll have the whole band join us to perform one of their songs. Today's episode will be hosted by Don Busick. We really hope you enjoy the show. All right, let's get started. Welcome, Jay and Ruby of Turner's Body Shop to the show. Thanks so much for coming. I tell you, this is our first, I think it's fair to say, family band that has like musical talent in the blood here. And actually our first female artist on the show as well. So yeah. Honored. So I'm really excited. So thank you so much. I really appreciate you all doing this with us.
Thanks for having us.
We're excited.
Awesome. Well, hey, I found the best way usually to start the show is to let you all talk about how this whole thing got started. And so I thought maybe, I know you started off as a duo, and I have a feeling this is going to be a different kind of story than we hear from most bands on how things came together.
Yeah.
So could you share a little bit about sort of how you two got started playing together? You want to go, Jay?
Sure. I was doing a solo acoustic act, and Ruby showed interest in playing the guitar.
Yeah.
I showed her a couple chords, and then I taught myself to play guitar, which was a huge mistake. So I said, if you're interested, I'll get you a teacher. And we found a great guy. He taught her a couple chords, and the first day she had her, she went home and wrote a song, and after just with 3 chords. I have a video of it.
Wow.
And her and her sister were doing harmonies and stuff, and it was rough. But it was amazing to me. I was like, let me get my phone and record.
So how old were you at this point?
9.
Yeah.
9. Okay.
Maybe.
9. Yeah, around 9 years old.
Maybe 9. Yeah. And so I started taking her. We learned a song that Mice and Men.
Of Mice and Men. Yeah.
Of Mice and Men. Little Talks.
Yeah.
We learned that song, and we started going to open mic nights. And I would take her there, and we eventually had 3 songs, and we would play that. And then I started saying, this sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
I said, you should learn all the other songs I do and start playing with me on a regular basis. And she's like, I don't want to learn all that old stuff. I don't like all those old people music. I said, they pay you.
Ask about this, but we'll hold the song selection for a bit.
Yeah. So I said, they'll pay you, right? She goes, let's do it. And we played every Saturday for a whole year at the Tides Inn.
Really? I was going to ask.
That was the first year that she actually performed. It was a good place to cut your teeth.
Yeah.
And she used to do the cup song, that.
The one from Pitch Perfect.
Yeah. I was obsessed. Yeah.
Everybody was.
And that place just went crazy when she
I
did that.
bet.
And
do you have that on video?
I do. It's very hazy, but yeah,
okay.
I do.
We'll watch it later.
Yeah. And that's where it started.
Yeah.
And then just progressed.
So were you getting paid when you played at Tides Inn, or was that open mic?
No, that was a gig.
Right. So
every Saturday.
So how old were you at that point? Like,
I just turned 13.
Okay.
When at the Tides Inn.
Got it.
Yeah. 2013. Yeah. And we burned up the transmission of a vehicle, driving back and forth every Saturday. But, the fun part of that song now is when we do it. I always introduce it as the first song we learned.
I've heard you say it.
And because there's a verse in the song that says, tell her that I miss our little talks. And that's something that we have because we spend an hour and 45 minutes there and back.
Yeah.
Having these little talks between, father-daughter conversations.
You've given us a little glimpse into it. I've noticed on, I think it's your Instagram page, there's sometimes I see you guys are driving along in the car on the way to a show, and I've seen some of them.
Yeah. Post some
kind of fun
pictures.
to watch.
Yeah.
And so that's how you got your start. And how many years ago was that? So how long have you been together as a duo?
Ooh.
12 years.
12 years. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. And she started on guitar. And
that was the other
Right, yeah.
question I was going to ask, because I want to, well, I'll ask you in a little bit, because I want to talk about some of the different instruments you play, but we'll come back to it. One thing that, obviously, it is, there are plenty of family members that play in bands together, mostly like siblings, you'll see. And occasionally you'll see like maybe a mother-daughter, like the Judds or something like that.
Yeah.
I have not seen you. You're unique in the sense that you're the only father or daughter one that I went this morning trying to find anyone else. Yeah. So you have a unique thing, at least in the first 3 pages of a Google search.
Right.
I cannot find anyone that is there. So yeah, that's got to be a interesting way of growing up playing music together.
Yeah. It's kind of always been like our thing that we bond on and we get to do together.
Yeah. It was very difficult when she first started because she wouldn't sing in front of me. We would try to rehearse and she would not sing. And I'm like, how are we going to do this if you won't sing in front of me? If we get to the gig and she's no problem.
Nice.
Although she sings very quiet.
Yeah.
I've noticed. Now, has it evolved over time, like how the show came together? Like, were you
For sure.
initially playing guitar in the early days?
Yeah, so we started both of us playing rhythm.
Yeah.
Because that's basically all I could do.
Right.
And then I think every once in a while I'd break out like a lead
Yeah.
or something, and then I brought a ukulele and a mandolin
And a cup.
and a cup. And then I kind of think we landed on piano recently, the past couple years, because I've just been so into it, other than any instrument lately.
Wow. See, I would have thought from watching that piano was your core instrument.
Really?
Yeah. Well,
I think it is now.
yeah.
It definitely is. Yeah.
Although she still, she plays piano and guitar better than me.
Yeah.
I'm still a drummer. So.
That was going to be the way I created drama. Was I was going to ask like who's the better guitarist in the band between the two of you? Yeah, well, it's like the.
You'll see him in a minute.
Yeah. So tell me, how long ago was it that you've become Turner's Body Shop? When did you expand to a full band? And could you talk a little bit about sort of the new members that are here that have joined?
Yeah. Well, when we were a duo, even before that, Will McIntyre was, I've known him since high school. We used to play against each other in Battle of the Bands. He and I would do a duo. And then I started bringing him on when we did duos. And before you know it, we had a bass player, we had a drummer, and then it became, instead of the Ruby May and Jay, the daughter-father duo, it became the Ruby and Jay band. So that's what people were labeling it. So we had a gig about 3 years ago now, I guess. And the bass player called me at 9:30 in the morning and said that he couldn't make it. He was sick. Well, my youngest son, Jax, who's a great guitar player, but he also plays bass. I'm calling all these hard hitters, can you play today, in 4 hours? And they're like, no, I'm booked. And so I said, wait a minute, I've got a bass player sitting at home. So I called him up at 10:30 in the morning, woke him up. 15-year-old boys, they sleep in. And
Mine's still asleep.
I said, hey, right. I said, hey, you got any plans this afternoon?
Yeah.
And he's like, no. I said, okay, I need you to play bass with us. He goes, okay. So I came home and we went through the songs for about an hour. And we got in the car and went to the gig, and he nailed it.
Wow.
And he's been playing with us ever since. And
that's great. So you got 2 new permanent members So tell me about the name. We started to have this conversation, and when we were talking on the phone, I was like, no, don't tell me now.
Yeah.
I want to find out later. So tell me about how you came up with the name.
Well, it had a couple transitions. The first one, and there's a great picture that we did a photo shoot in the living room. It used to be originally Ruby May and Jay, the father-daughter duo.
Right.
And then we had this picture that she jumped in front of me, and she's all glamorous, and I'm standing behind her going, what's going on?
Yes. We'll show it. We'll put it up when we're talking.
Yeah. So if you look closely at the logo, father-daughter is scratched out, and it says daughter-father. Because I thought, well, it should be ladies first.
Right.
Anyway, and she was obviously stealing the show, so I just went with that. So that's how it became that. And then when Jax joined the band, I thought, well, it doesn't seem right to just call it now Ruby and Jay.
Right.
So my dad had passed away about 2 years prior. And he used to work and run and own Turner's Body Shop, which he took over from his father, my grandfather, when he died in 75, who had started it in 1947 when he came home from World War II. And he had this hand-painted sign that says Turner's Body Shop. And that sign got moved from location to location until it ended up in a pile of leaves behind my tool shed at my mom's house. And I was like, oh, this is cool. I'm going to take it home. And I hung it on the wall. And then it just became this thought in my head that that'd be a cool name for a band, but that's weird. So I didn't do anything with it. And then when that opportunity came up, I said, there it is. So we just I went out in my shed, literally took a picture of the sign with my phone, photoshopped the word band on it.
Yeah.
And printed a 4x8 banner, and we're off and running.
Wow. Well, we're certainly going to show an image of that now that we're talking about it. It's, gosh, what a great story. What a great way to honor your dad and your grandfather, too, to keep the name and legacy going in a creative way.
Yeah. I worked there for about 6 months after high school.
Oh, yeah.
And he said, you have to get a different job. It killed my father. It's killing me. I don't want you to do this.
Yeah.
So I moved on and did other things. But, yeah, it's...
You know, it's interesting, Jay, because usually when people tell me the origins of the name of their band, they're usually not, like, all band names are kind of dumb. Until you kind of get...
I've got a lot of those, too.
Yours is great. Like, from the very get-go. I'm like, what a great name for a band, and what it means, it fits so well. That's awesome.
And we also got some shirts made recently. I had one of the original...
Yeah.
I used to have the work shirts with the patch on it.
But yeah.
So I photoshopped the word band onto that. So it says Turner Body Shop Band. We got a patch on the front.
Yeah.
On the back, it says Bodies Made Beautiful, Turner's Body Shop
Well,
Band.
this is going to do wonders for your merch sales. Now that everyone knows the backstory.
Well, that Bodies Made Beautiful was a logo my dad had on shirts printed in the 70s.
Really?
So I just had it remade.
It's authentic.
So
yeah.
it all comes together.
How special.
It's pretty cool.
Wow. So there are so many special things about your band. And it's one of the things I've found, and I think you all know it just from your slogan, but your song selection is really unique. And I wrote it down. You have a saying, it's songs you forgot you loved, or something. Am I close?
Yeah.
And
got you low.
Yeah. And it's true because, every time we've come to see you, there's a sort of this feeling of like, hey, I know these artists, but I haven't heard this song in a long time, and I've forgotten how much I liked it, kind of feel. And yeah. It's like, I don't think if you didn't even have the slogan, I would have had the thought.
Yeah.
I'm curious, how do you guys source the songs? Like, how did it come to be?
Is
it just like what you love, or you guys?
Well, I'll tell you quite honestly, it got to where I could call any drummer, any guitar player, any bass player, say, we got a gig Saturday, be there at 7.
Yeah.
I haven't seen you in 3 years, but you know these songs because we've played them since we were 14 years old.
Okay.
I got so tired of that. I have nothing against Brown Eyed Girl.
Right.
But if I never have to play it again, that's okay too. So I thought, there's so many other songs that they bring memories back. That was the thing. When I heard a song, I remember hearing that on my grandmother's porch or something, crazy like that. And just kind of went with it. So I just decided to play, and it almost sounded rude, songs that I like.
Well,
not the ones that you hear every day.
When you like the songs, you play them better.
Well, it turns out a lot of people like them.
Yeah.
Not many people are playing them. So
it's interesting because it's bands, I made a list of your whole set that you played the other night when I came to see you. It's Rolling Stones, Allman Brothers, Van Morrison, but the songs you select within it are ones where I'm like, oh, I haven't heard that one, or I've never heard anyone play that one live, which I find very unique. And then there's some ones I haven't heard in quite a while that just kind of pop in, like Chris Isaac. I think you sang one of them. I was like, oh, so good.
She does a whole different spin on it.
Yeah.
I used to sing that song, and trying to get her to sing more. I was like, you take any song on the list, you sing it. That's fine with me.
That's great. Do you, obviously, I would say your set list tends to skew a little to the classics, I'd say. Do you have any, I won't say modern artists, but do you have any artists you're listening to now that you love, whether they're old or new? Do you have anything on your playlist where you're like, oh, this is my go-to?
Well, I have the Rolling Stones and John Prine.
Okay.
And Johnny Cash, probably.
That would have been my guess.
My 3 big ones.
Yeah.
That's always my go-to.
How about you, Ruby?
Bill Withers.
Yeah.
For sure. Love Bill Withers. I can listen to him all day. Billy Joel.
Yeah.
I like Billy Joel a lot. A new artist I've been listening to, his name's Twain.
Hmm.
He's very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I just started listening to him.
Nationally known or local?
Nationally known.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he's pretty big.
He's pretty.
Now, do you debate the set list or
All the time.
all the time? I always love to hear this from bands. Like, how does it
Yeah.
actually turn out the way it does?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a discussion.
Is it a discussion?
Yeah. Well, also, my wife will listen to the bridge.
Yeah.
She'll like screenshot and say, you guys should play this song. So she sends me a lot of suggestions as well. But when we do the song list, I have it set up so every fourth song she's singing. And then we get to that song and she's like, I don't think the room is ready for that. Let's jump to this one.
So
So I'm just like,
that brings me
Okay.
to my next question. I'm sure this comes up a lot,
Uh-huh.
which is both of you have great voices. And in different ways. Like you've got a really nice kind of, I'd say, deep but soulful baritone, like great for Johnny Cash for sure. I'm sure you've been told before. Ruby, you have this beautiful, soft, but soulful voice. And I was thinking, because the Bill Withers song, I'd say Ain't No Sunshine, I think, we were all there and you started to play it. And all of a sudden, the whole table got quiet and everybody leaned in to like go, oh, we wish we could hear this a little. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of reaction.
that's one of my favorite things to do. We start playing a song
Yeah.
and there's somebody that I know. I'm like, watch the crowd. And as soon as she starts singing, everybody's like,
Yeah, so at least everyone in Small Venue Music has this definition. How can we get you to sing more lead?
yes.
So
Because there's just a lot of demand for it. Yeah.
we get asked that a lot,
Yeah.
and it's me. Everyone
Is it-
thinks like, oh, he just likes to be the star or whatever. He's trying to get me to sing so
It doesn't.
much.
Yeah.
It's me. I'm just very picky,
Yeah.
and I criticize myself a lot, I think. So I'm like, if I don't do it and have fun and do it perfectly, I'm like, it's not really worth it, even though it probably is to most other people.
Yeah.
So it's all me. It's just if I find a newer song and we kind of have like an older set, I'll probably just like kick that to the side.
Yeah.
And that happens a lot, which is why we skip all my songs mostly.
Wow.
It's not me.
I was going to say, I didn't think it was Jay.
Record, yeah.
Yeah, because I can tell when she does sing, I watch you look over, and you guys harmonize so well together too. Your voices complement each other well, but yeah, Ruby, we all want to hear you sing more.
Noted.
I'm sure you've heard it.
There's a
people
video
say.
of what was it, Lana Del Rey song you did?
Mhm.
I don't know, but she did it by herself, and I was sitting next to her, and I just took my phone out and was recording her, and I was just going, "I made you."
Yeah.
This is amazing. I can't
That's
believe it.
great. Now you mentioned you started off playing guitar. It's funny. I thought you were gonna. I had a totally different impression. I thought you were gonna tell me, oh yeah, you grew up playing piano and then picked up guitar later. So how long ago did you pick up piano or keyboard?
3 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago.
Really?
Self-taught.
Okay. Self-taught.
Mhm.
Okay. It seems like you play more songs on the keyboard than the guitar. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
I think because he plays rhythm
Yeah.
guitar, and I can only play like some leads that I feel like comfortable doing. So I don't want to have like constantly two rhythms. Yeah. So I like to
So it mixes it up.
backing with the piano. Yeah.
Because I'm usually playing the drum part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing I noticed is you have a very unique microphone.
Yep.
And I was wondering if you could talk about it, because I admit I'm not like a mic gearhead or anything, but it's beautiful looking and it seems to fit the vibe of your voice so well. So can you, and if we can get a picture of it, I'll show it to everybody who's watching. Can you talk a little bit about it?
Very cool microphones.
Yeah.
I have never loved a microphone like I love that one. I love the vintage, like the very like 50s looking thing. I like the way that he holds his better because I play the keyboard, it's like in my face, so I can't really see. So I have to turn it upside down. But he has his like the classic right up here. And I think you have a story about yours, don't you?
Yeah. I just love the look of it.
It looks super,
And I couldn't bring myself to buy one, and my wife went out and bought it for me.
oh,
And then we were trying to get her louder because she thinks goes so quiet. We tried every mic and every PA system and all these different things. Finally went to in-ear systems. We got her that microphone. And it's been pretty good ever since. If she could just sing a little bit louder.
Well, it sounds great. It looks incredible. And it does, for both of you, it has a sort of take you back in time feel.
Yeah.
Because I think I first saw you at, I want to say Rural Times, and I noticed it. And I'm like, wow, like I feel like I've been transported to a different decade.
And, went back to when we went to open mic nights.
Yeah.
There's a picture of us where she's playing her guitar and I'm playing my guitar and I'm kind of leaning over on her. And I used that image. If you've ever seen our Ruby May and J logo, it's a red circle and it's got two of those microphones and they're leaning just like that in the middle of it. That's where that came
You're
from.
going to have to give me these photos so I can do
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be cool.
That's great. Hey, one of the things that I know you offered to do was to play a song. And I love having original music and I love getting live music on the show. So I think we're going to have the whole band do it. So before we do, we'll take some time out to set up. Could you talk about the song, what it's about, and a little bit of the kind of the story behind it? And
Certainly.
And then we'll switch over.
Yeah. It's called Memories Worthy of a Song. And it's written in the perspective that I was talking to my brother. And when we were growing up, we had my family here. Next door was my great aunt and uncle. 2 houses up was my great grandparents. Across the street from them was my grandparents. Excuse me. And my great grandfather died in 71, and I was 4.
Mhm.
But I remember these weird things about him. He used to sit at the chair and pick a hole in the leather chair, and she'd put a piece of tape over it, and he'd pick a hole in the tape, and he drove a bus. That was when he got out of World War I. He drove a bus around town, and he used to tell stories about that, and just the weird things you remember about him. When I'd get off the bus, my great grandmother would be with a shovel going down with the curbs, cleaning the curbs, getting all the rocks and plants out of it. Just crazy things you remember about people that pass away when you're young. And the song is about my great grandparents and my grandparents and what I remember about them. And my grandmother died on my 17th birthday. My great grandmother died on my brother's next birthday, which
What are the odds?
19 or 20, whatever.
Yeah.
So, my grandfather died in 75, my great grandfather 71. And they used to drive us up to Rockville, Virginia, where they had land, which they used to have a 200-acre farm, and it kept getting cut up into 100 acres and 50 acres and 25 acres. And just the memories of going there. And there was this huge field that used to be a cornfield. Not my lifetime, it was just a field. And this guy used to come around with a tractor and cut it, but nothing ever grew there. And just crazy things that I remembered. So that's what the song's about.
It doesn't surprise me that you're writing a song about family and this band. So great. Well, we'll take a quick break, let you guys get set up, and we're excited to hear it.
Great. Cool. Wonderful. Remember my great grandfather picking a chair with his nails, walking with a cane and trying to explain the way things used to be. He told us he drove a bus all through the city streets. World War I, he carried a gun. It couldn't have been much fun. My grandfather was a peaceful man, though he served in the Second World War. Funny how some things never change. I was young when he got sick. I guess I missed his better years. When I think of him, I think of happy thoughts, not a bit of tears. Rockfield holds it all for me. Skinned up knees and the snakes by the trees in that big old field where nothing grows. The bar down the road, catching a toad. Summer's on the stove and it won't be long. Oh, memories worthy of us all. Oh, memories worthy of us all. Oh, my memories worthy of us all. In old Dodge Dart is where I got my start, singing songs out loud. We sing till to dawn. What's that flower you have on? Could it be a faded rose that's gone by? Did I hear you say he was meeting you here today? Take you to his mansion in the sky.
Oh my gosh. That was awesome.
That was fucking awesome.
That was awesome.
So good.
Oh, God.
So
I don't think
good.
we're gonna need
We're
any
all
more
like,
tape.
oh, good. Got the fan back on.
Wow.
All right, we are back. That was truly incredible. Like,
thank you.
we really enjoyed it. So what a great song. And who would have thought we'd be hearing a little bit of Helen Reddy at the end there? That was shocking and amazing. And at least some of us know that song, I will admit, and grew up singing it. So
Yeah,
like,
Definitely a
how'd you think
true
to add,
story.
Yeah, how'd you think to add that to the end? Just happened to be like,
literally the first time I remember singing
really?
out loud was in the back of my grandmother's Dodge Dart on the way to Rockville, just hanging over the front seat. You know, seat belts weren't a thing back then,
Yeah.
and singing that song as loud as I
Safety
could, hanging over the front seat as they're going over these hills like a roller coaster.
Wow.
And it just a memory that I
Oh,
had.
yeah, what a great trip down memory lane.
That's a memory worthy of a song.
It's well done. I see what you did there. So speaking of memories, I was wondering if you could go back in time, Jay, and tell us how you learned how to play and maybe some of your early experiences playing in bands around town.
Sure. I got my first drum set on my second birthday, 1969. And another good picture. And it's in my baby book. He shows exceptional rhythm. So
Nice.
stuck with that. And it was a toss up between the flute, because there was a really cute girl in fifth grade band that played flute or the drum, and my uncle had a snare drum. So I had to haul that thing around.
Yeah.
But I started playing guitar when I was about 7. I've got a great picture of that where I was playing Elvis Presley right about the time he died. And that's where I started that. And then when I got to high school, we couldn't find a bass player. I'm like, it only has 4 strings. How hard could it be?
Oh, bass players. Like that.
Well, if you do it right, it can be very difficult.
Exactly.
But so I jumped off the drums and played bass, and had a high school band called Shattered Glass at Freeman. And we played in ballad bands where I mentioned I met Will McIntyre.
Yeah.
And we played for years. And that actually, the Shattered Glass came just before that. Some guys, Tommy Klein, Will Thornhill, and Rich Lehman gave me my first break.
Yeah.
They were in the senior band, and I was a junior. And they had the big band called Tempest at Freeman at the time. And they asked me to come and sit in and play drums for the last set while the drummer Rich got up and sang. So, and then they all graduated. And I'm like, now what? So I met this guy, Bill Sturman, and turned out he came over to my house for the first time to get together and jam. And my dad opens the door and he's like silent. He feels like he's seen a ghost. He had just been to the funeral of Bill's dad.
Oh, no.
Bill's dad and my dad grew up together. Whoa.
Yeah.
And we both loved the Stones and all this stuff. So we played together for years and years and still do off and on, time to time. But
Well, there'll be a lot of Freeman alum that are loving this story.
yeah. And then when we graduated from high school, actually before I graduated from high school, Bill and I used to go up to this place called the Loose Moose on Hall Street Road. And they had this open mic. And there was this guy that my dad used to work at Turner's Body Shop. His name was Willie Kahn. He had a band called Tin Can Alley. And they'd been around for years and years, since the 70s. And they were all in their 40s, and I was 16. And I used to go play bass with them at this open mic. And they're like, we need you to fill in on bass on a gig. So I did. And then they're like, man, our drummer's in jail. We need a new drummer. I said, well, I'm really a drummer, right? I'm really a drummer. And they're like, what? So it turns out years ago, when I was maybe 2, probably younger than that, my parents drove Willie to Massachusetts to see his girlfriend and held me in the back seat. He held me in the back seat, and he said I screamed the whole way. He said, I wanted to throw you out of the window so bad. And I'm glad I didn't, because I needed a drummer.
Nice.
So I played with Tin Can Alley from the time I was about 16 until our 3rd child was born.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like 97. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we were playing 5 nights a week, and I told him, I said, I gotta back off a little bit. But I never stopped playing. And then I played with them for a long time. And then I had several other bands. The Mountain Orchestra Orchestra was a big band around that we had a lot of fun with. And where to go from there? Guitar Brothers was another one that we did. And Bill Sturman was in that. We had a lot of different people. Some guys from the Atkinsons were in it.
I was going to say, you mentioned you played with some of the guys from the Atkinsons.
I was the original drummer in the Atkinsons.
They just had their big reunion too.
Yeah, I went to that. That was great. Good to see them again, and they had some great old pictures and stuff. Jamie and Dickie have been friends for years. And got to where we either had to do one band or the other. So I stuck with Guitar Brothers, and they kept with the Atkinsons, and worked out good for everybody.
Yeah.
And then I stopped the Guitar Brothers about 2014, and I said I want to do something different. Been playing these same songs since I was 14. I said, how about all those old songs my grandparents used to torture me with on WXGI, the old country station? So I started listening to all these old country songs, and I started a band called J. Turner and the Swinging Doors. And we do 40s through 70s country with the hats, embroidered shirts, the whole show.
We got to find some pictures of that for sure.
For sure.
And the band is the same, Will and my son Jax.
Yeah.
And we got several different drummers that we play with. And Ruby doesn't do the country band. So if you take Ruby out, you got the same band. We just changed the shirt and the hat and the song list, and basically that's it. And then, of course, the Body Shop band.
That's
so
nice.
Quite brings
a long journey of music
up to now. But yeah, so dabbled in piano since I was about 5. My mother used to play by sheet music, and I'd go over there and pick out what she'd done.
Yeah,
and that's.
Were you always a singer as well?
A horrible one. Yeah.
What?
It was not pretty. I don't know what had happened. But I used to play more hard rock, and I didn't learn how to sing until the last, 8 or 10 years. It would be where you'd scream all night, and then you had to sing the next night.
Well, you found probably your genre that works for you.
When I went to the country, everything changed.
Yeah.
And then I was able to use that in singing the other stuff. Because when we do Sympathy for the Devil, and you're in your head, you're going, I got to sing tomorrow.
Be careful.
Got to do it again tomorrow.
Never. Have you played anywhere else other than with Turner's Body Shop, or
I have not.
really? So
Yeah,
the whole
I'm
time,
committed. Yeah.
Committed, yeah. Unlike him, he ought to be stuck with
Yeah,
one.
he's going around.
Yeah,
Yeah, no. I've, depending on what band it is, I'm always just with him since day one. So that's really cool.
that's
I
great.
keep wondering how long she'll keep me around.
Yeah, we
One day
We've
I'll
all
be the
wondered.
sound man, lead singer and driver of the Winnebago.
exactly the roadie.
Yeah.
So you guys, speaking of you guys play a lot of venues, and like how frequently do you play?
Before COVID, we
Yeah.
were doing 170 shows a year.
Wow.
And then COVID hit and we got creative
Yeah.
and it worked. And a lot of people thought it was cool. And we did what we called curbside concerts. We had a client of mine that said, hey, Friday afternoon, all of our neighbors get out in the street and drink beer and stay 6 feet away from each other. Why don't y'all come sit in our front yard? So we did. We did a Facebook Live. And
Yep.
what was cool was, when you do an event, you can invite people and you pick the people that you think will come. When you're doing it on Facebook Live, I can invite people from San Diego that I haven't seen since high school, and they're all logging in, and some of them sent some money as well. That's fine.
Yeah.
But it just kind of took off. And that very first show that we did in Windsor Farms, we had 2 other people come up and say, we want you to play in our neighborhood. And so we did that. And then somebody heard us and wanted us to play 2 streets over. And it just started to build. And there's one that we still play at. We play about once a month with them. Actually, we just got another date in September. Yeah, September 24th, I think. But anyway, it's just a little private street party.
Yeah.
And we sit up in the street, and those are really fun. The kids, she called me the other day, said, the kids are asking when y'all are coming back.
Nice.
And
Yeah.
Ruby's got a fan club
Oh, I'm
all
sure.
across,
That's
all
a lot.
across town.
That's a lot of shows.
Yeah.
There was a lot. We had steady gigs every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and then we played most Fridays and Saturdays.
Ruby, do you have any favorite venues that you played?
I have a lot of favorite venues.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think like every time we go to one, it's a whole new experience. I really like the curbside concerts, like more private,
Yeah.
everyone kind of knows each other. I like those a lot. I like Hardywood, very fun, very fun crowd. Rare Old Times. I think you've
Yeah,
seen us
I've seen you a couple
before.
times there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
It's-
nice little intimate setting.
Exactly. It's kind of like a mix of both the Hardywood and
Yep.
the intimate setting. It's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice.
Food's
So-
good, too.
You guys have been at it for a while. I'm curious. There's always a hey, what's next for you all? And have you ever thought about recording, or what other type of aspirations might you have?
We recorded a few songs. We
Yeah.
haven't really put anything out yet. We'll record it, and then we'll
Yeah.
listen to it, and then we'll play it 1,500 times, and then we'll
I
change
do it
it.
for fun.
Yeah.
And we got a bunch of original songs. My heart still hurts. When she was young, she wrote a whole book of songs,
Really?
and she threw it away.
Oh,
I was an angsty teen.
I'm just like, it
weren't
was,
we all?
I have songs that I wrote in my 9th grade history class when I was in 12th grade.
Yeah.
You do the math. And, I still have the actual handwritten thing, because someday that'll be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I'm sure.
Do you ever
But-
pull out original music in any of your shows?
Yeah.
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 It's crazy sometimes, like people request the
Yeah.
original songs, which is really fun.
Oh, I bet it feels good, right?
Yeah. Especially when they know the words and they sing along.
Mhm.
I had a girl that, a good friend of ours, and we actually played at her wedding, and she said someone broke in her car, and the only thing they stole was a CD of my music.
Ooh.
And she wanted to know, could she get another one? I said, absolutely.
Nowhere to play it anymore. But
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, hey, I would love for you to share some dates that you have coming up. So if anyone who's been watching, and particularly since they got to hear you play, wants to come see you, can you share some of the upcoming dates that you have?
I can if I cheat.
Yeah, go ahead. Look it up, because I know probably in late September we're in, or
Yeah.
October if you have any good
Got,
news for it.
Three Crosses Distillery.
Oh, yeah.
14th.
I've seen you there.
That's a great place.
Yep.
Coles Courthouse out in Charles City on the 16th. Of course, we're at Pepe's on the 29th. We're there every third Wednesday.
In Midlothian.
Yeah, we've been
Yep.
playing there for 9 years now.
Nice.
Yeah. And Hardywood downtown on the 15th of October. Steamboat, November 9th. And that's the public ones. Then we got a bunch of private stuff in there. But yeah,
Well, that's fantastic.
we'd love to see everybody.
Well, I'm sure first I want to say how amazing it was to have you on the show, and thanks for hosting us in your house too, here in Churchill. It's been fantastic. I got to tell you, you two, and frankly, the whole band, you're like a rare gem here in Richmond. So I really love you as a band. And, both the way you play and sing together, as well as just the father-daughter and Tyler family aspect of what you bring, it's really heartwarming to see you guys play. And I think anyone who's ever seen you play will get that feeling. Plus the song selection and the unique style and choices of songs it's truly like a surprise and delight moment every new song that comes out, from what I've seen. So
Awesome.
it's amazing. I encourage everyone to come out and see you guys play, and I can't thank you two enough for being on the show. I really appreciate it, and the rest of the guys in the band. So but thanks so much for hosting us and for being on the show. Really appreciate
Thank you
it.
for having us.
you.
Been a treat, and really enjoy what you're doing with this
Yeah, it's
podcast.
really cool.
Thank you very much.
So much
Cheers.
to watch.
All right. Thank you for listening to today's show. Please like or subscribe to our podcast to be notified of each new episode, and follow us on all of our social media channels. If you are a local Richmond band or venue owner and you'd like to be featured on the show, please feel free to send us an email at smallvenuemusic@gmail.com. We'd love feedback on each episode, so please leave a comment to let us know how we're doing. Thanks again for listening.